Queen watching, her camera ready, and about 5, 6, 7, 8 beta elephants are moving in front of the elephant grass about 6, 7 feet high in front of us now. And we can hear it. Now it comes. Tiger going straight off towards the other elephants. I think the Foreign Secretary missed.
Even in the days when foreign secretaries went tiger shooting, Charles was a reporter with attitude.
And somebody got one tiger at last.
It was another world, but not quite as much of another world as this World War II veteran discovered when he was posted to the United States.
Dr. Drake, I think you're one of the few people who've had practical experience in trying to contact an outside intelligence. What were the results of your Project Ozma?
I think it's virtually certain that intelligent life exists elsewhere in the universe somewhere.
It was his time in the States that established Charles as a truly significant reporter. Sharp, persistent, difficult, above all, humane. Sent to cover the rioting which swept through a mainly black district of Los Angeles, he did not see events as many others did, mere disorder and looting.
They talk about peace brutality in these terms. They push us around. They arrest us for nothing. They call us niggers. They say we stink. They insult our women. We've had this for years, as long as we can remember. And the point simply came when somebody decided he wouldn't take it anymore.
The Watergate is Washington's most opulent hotel and apartment block.
And then came the burglary, blundering and bombast of Watergate, which would eventually bring down President Richard Nixon.
The financial part of the story is a saga in itself. It is known that a sum of $114,000, donated by a group of would-be anonymous oil tycoons in Texas, passed from this headquarters into the bank account in Miami of one of the accused, Bernard Barker.
Have we got London's lineup yet?
Not his closest friends would claim he was always an easy man to work for, but they understood and respected what made him a great reporter.
Called Frank Sinatra after a convicted mafia.
One example that always struck me as Charles was at an American convention when the news editor in London was wanting him to speculate about what was going to happen the next day at the convention. We were in Miami or California or somewhere. And they obviously only had yesterday's stuff. And he just sits there, deadpan, says, I don't know what's going to happen this evening, but I can tell you what they think is going to happen. And he pulls out a bit of paper and he says, Nixon's going to come on. There's going to be 2 minutes of spontaneous applause. He's going to raise his hand in a short greeting. And then there will be another 4 minutes of spontaneous applause. And he went on and said, what I've done is I've got hold of the maitre d' sort of order of the day. And he just read it out. And that was, in a way, quite typical of him, though a very small story, because he was a fantastic reporter and not really given to punditry and flower and things like that. He just reported things as he found it.
And yet there is another side to this. The more the older generation clings to its outdated values, the stronger seems to be the urge among young Americans to alter them. And many young Americans are taking their elders with them. That is what is happening in America today. And for this aging observer, it's an exciting thing to watch.
Charles came back from America and joined Panorama and later the newly launched Newsnight.
Good evening and welcome at last to Newsnight.
The BBC wanted to turn this now distinguished reporter into a studio presenter, but he preferred first-hand reporting, and it wasn't a great success.
Not. American neutrality stops.
I'm sorry we've so dramatically lost Charles Wheeler, who appears to have dematerialized in the best Star Trek manner.
Exports. Then I'm sorry, I've got Ian Smith coming in my ear. In foreign affairs,
the man was plainly too honest for the world of autocue and hair gel.
For example,
when I started Newsnight, Charles, for me, was an obvious person to choose. One night, because it was all chaos, the telecine wasn't working, the videotape, something didn't happen. And where you would expect an accomplished anchor to sit there sort of flanneling away until we'd sorted itself out, Charles just says, I don't know what's going on, let's just wait. and sits there in silence for what to me seemed a lifetime. And afterwards, I said to him, look, Charles, I'm not quite sure you're cut out for presenting. And he went back on the road. And that's really when he started to be Newsnight special correspondent in America. And he was so brilliant.
They're relatively good-humoured. We've seen a couple of punch-ups involving...
Mind you, it wasn't always a blessing to have his utterly frank analysis, as we discovered at the outside broadcast covering the end of the Cold War, conducted, if that's the word, in the midst of 1 million drunk Germans.
But now let's... Charles Wheeler.
Jeremy, this is pure Monty Python.
I can't hear you.
This is pure Monty Python, having a serious political discussion in the middle of a firework display.
I'm only obeying orders, Charles.